This is the Music History Today podcast for November the 6th. On today's show, Aerosmith and the Sex Pistols played their first gigs, and Madonna justifies her love. First up, though, on this date in 1893, composing great Peter Tchaikovsky passed away from cholera at the age of 53. In 1919, the Soirée Musicale became the first radio program in Denmark. In 1943, the Carl Orff cantata, Songs from Catullus, premiered. In 1965, promoter Bill Graham put on his first concert. It was Jefferson Airplane at the San Francisco Mime Troupe benefit concert. In 1970, Aerosmith played their first gig. It was in the school gymnasium at Nipmuc Regional High School in Mendon, Massachusetts. The school is now called the Misco Hill Middle School. The concert was at a student fundraiser dance. Tickets went for $1, and about 125 people showed up. The band played 11 songs, including Great Balls of Fire, Good Times, Bad Times, and Train Kept A-Rollin'. In 1972, Billy Murcia of the New York Dolls choked to death at the age of 21. In 1975, the Sex Pistols played their first gig. It was at St. Martin College of the Art in London, England, supporting the band Bazooka Joe. Band member Glenn Matlock was a student at the school and booked the gig at the last minute. The other members of the band were Johnny Rotten, Steve Jones, and Paul Cook. Nope, Sid Vicious was not there at the time. They played about 20 minutes, playing No Lip, Substitute, 17, and Stepping Stone. They were in the middle of the song Did You Know Wrong when their set was cut short because, yeah, you guessed it, the band got into a fight with the audience. Typical Sex Pistols. And the legend was born. In 2002, Eminem's movie 8 Mile premiered in Los Angeles. It would go into wide release a couple days later. In 2005, the musical based on the Four Seasons careers, Jersey Boys, premiered on Broadway. Also in 2005, the group Super Junior formed under their original group name, Junior 5. In 2014, Phil Rudd of AC/DC was charged in New Zealand with trying to hire a hitman and also threatening to kill a former employee, and one other charge. And although the hiring the hitman charge was dropped the next day, he was sentenced in July 2015 to 8 months of home detention on the threatening charge and the other charge. In award ceremonies that took place on November the 6th, in 2002, Martina McBride and Alan Jackson were among the big winners at the Country Music Association Awards, and in 2006, Carrie Underwood, Keith Urban, and Kenny Chesney were among the big winners at the Country Music Association Awards. Albums that were released on November the 6th include in 1971 when the Stylistics released their self-titled album. In 1981, The Cars released Shake It Up, and Rod Stewart released Tonight I'm Yours, both big albums at the time. In 1982, Rod Stewart was at it again, this time releasing Absolutely Live. In 1983, the Pointer Sisters released Breakout. In 1987, the Less Than Zero soundtrack came out. That soundtrack had the Bangles remake of the Simon & Garfunkel song Hazy Shade of Winter. Also in 1987, NWA put out NWA and the Posse. Stevie Wonder put out Characters. In 1989, Phil Collins put out But Seriously. In 1990, the Pogues released Hell's Ditch, Scorpions released Crazy World, and Steve Winwood released Refugees of the Heart. In 1995, Elvis Costello and Richard Harvey released the soundtrack to Jake's Progress. In 2001, Supertramp released Is Everybody Listening, and Hall & Oates released Greatest Hits Live. In 2007, Graham Parsons released the Graham Parsons Archive Volume 1 live at the Avalon Ballroom 1969. Rick Springfield released Christmas with You, because everybody releases a Christmas album at this time of year. And in 2012, Aerosmith released Music from Another Dimension. Singles that were released on November the 6th include in 1964 when the group Them did a twofer. They released the classics Baby Please Don't Go and Gloria, both of those in the UK at the time. In 1967, Donovan released Wear Your Love Like Heaven. In 1970, Badfinger released No Matter What, but only in the UK at that time. In 1971, The Who released Behind Blue Eyes. In 1978, Bryan Adams released Let Me Take You Dancing. In 1984, Madonna released her breakthrough single, Like a Virgin, but in the UK on that date. It was released earlier in the United States. In 1989, Tears for Fears with Oleta Adams released Woman in Chains. In 1990, Madonna released Justify My Love, a song that was co-written by Lenny Kravitz and Ingrid Chavez. In 2006, U2 and Green Day released The Saints Are Coming, which, if memory serves, was for a charity album, and that release was only in the United Kingdom at that date. In 2014, Selena Gomez released The Heart Wants What It Wants, and in 2020, System of a Down did a twofer. They released the songs Genocidal Humanoids and Protect the Land. Before we continue, we'd like to tell you that we've started Season 2 of the Music History In-Depth podcast, where we go more in-depth on some of the events that we mention on this particular podcast. The Music History In-Depth podcast drops every Tuesday on this podcast network. Now, back to the Music History Today podcast. Artists who were born on November the 6th include bandleader John Philip Sousa, Glenn Frey of the Eagles, Corey Glover of Living Colour, Greg Graffin of Bad Religion, Chris Glenn of the sensational Alex Harvey Band, George Young of the Easy Beats, musician Doug Young, singer Mike Clifford, country music singer Guy Clark, Doug Sam of the Sir Douglas Quintet, Jim Pike of the Lettermen, Eugene Pitt of the Jive Five, singer P.J. Proby, musician Ray Conniff, singer Stonewall Jackson, definitely not the Civil War general, although Stonewall was actually named after the Civil War general, so there you go. Brian Abrams of Color Me Bad, John Hume of Evermore, Paul Gilbert of Mr. Big, Paul English of Willie Nelson's backup band, banjo player Steve Mandel, Rushton Morev of Steppenwolf, singer Talia Marr, rapper Chris Wu, rapper Speaker Knockers, rapper Young Chris, rapper Baby Fendi, and Eurovision winner Conchita Wurst. Artists who unfortunately passed away on November the 6th, other than the ones mentioned earlier, include organist Heinrich Schultz, pianist Therese Vortel, conductor Charles Munch, opera singer Elizabeth Grummer, pianist Lily Krauss, the man nicknamed the King of Mizrahi music, singer Zohar Argov, parody song singer Dickie Goodman, flute player Andre Vandernoot, pianist Iris Loveridge, jazz pianist Pete Jolly, singer and actress Minako Honda, Hank Thompson of the Brazos Valley Boys, pianist Gordon Beck, bassist Rick Rosas, pianist Zoltan Coxis, Hugh McDowell of Electric Light Orchestra, or ELO if you will, art and film poster artist Robert Freeman, rapper King Von, rapper Sox Pox TB, singer Astro from the group UB40, singer Yvette Benton of the group Sweethearts of Sigma, and entertainer extraordinaire Betty Johnson. Next on the Music History Today podcast, it is November the 7th when in 1943 the iconic Miss Joni Mitchell was born.